Welcome back to the Players Ball Podcast for AT Aliens by AT Aliens, number one podcast in Stankonia. I'm here with MB, the man to be. I am your host, Alex the Great, and we actually had some technical difficulties last episode, so we're gonna jump right back in where we were. We were talking some baseball. Obviously, it's ATL time, so the Braves were the menu item du jour. We're gonna jump back into that. So to give you a refresher, you can go watch the whole episode, but to give you a refresher, we were talking about Spencer Strider. There's been updates since then that we're losing our boy for, up to 18 months. He's definitely done for the rest of this year. It's not Tommy John's, but it is a surgery nonetheless that will keep him out the rest of this season. So, I mean, it hurts. And looking at the pitching so far, the scores, the basketball scores that the Braves have been putting up, it's apparent that we will need some pitching help here shortly. Where are you looking, Matt?
I brought up Trevor Bauer last week. One
hmm
of the things that we talked about that we kind of lost in that audio is the fact that he's kind of been blackballed from the league, it appears. Kind of
hmm
Colin Kaepernick esque situation. You know, Trevor Bauer likes to talk, and it appears
That he does.
that some of that talk may have put him in the bad graces of the MLB executives, GMs. I know AA talks about how important the clubhouse is, and
hmm
so we were just kind of discussing if Trevor would meet the would he be a good addition to the clubhouse, because we know he's a baller. He's got the stuff. He's still
Good
got
stuff.
he's still got the pitching repertoire. Actually was watching a video of him yesterday where he's developed some new windups, if you will, slide steps to
Hmm.
just make it that much harder to hit him, because you never know which delivery you're going to get. And so it just throws off the hitter's timing just a little bit more. But
Yeah.
so his ability's not really ever been the question. It's been more of the off field drama, as well as, would he be a good clubhouse guy?
Yeah. So there was a story that you sent me. It was a video of him, and I did not know that he and Garrett Cole were college teammates at, I think, UCLA. Is that right?
Yeah.
And apparently these guys hate each other. They don't talk to this day. Their former coach said if they ever talked, it's like hell freezing over for those guys. So we don't know what went down between them, but you spend that much time. Collegiate athletes spend a lot of time together. You spend that much time together, and you end up hating someone. It's two sides of a coin, but I don't think we want any smoke with it. Right? You have the one hand where both of them were able to continue to maintain their collegiate success. They were both able to go to the pros and have a lot of success there. So it's like, all right, well, you can keep it professional. But on the other hand, whatever transpired to get them into this situation in the first place is not something that we want to happen in the Braves locker room, in my opinion. Right? For him to be, the other parts of the video is like him trashing Jared Cole or Garrett Cole when he was a Astro still, like saying he's cheating. He's basically calling him out.
He was cheating
I
though.
Yeah, well, so is Trevor Bauer,
Not at the time.
admittedly.
Not at the time.
Right, but he adjusted his spin rate the same way that he accused Garrett Cole of doing so. Nah, the guy seems like a menace, man. I don't want no smoke with it.
Yeah, I find it funny you refer to him as a menace. I I definitely see your perspective and where you're coming from. I kind of like him. I think he has a
Mm,
little bit of moxie. That particular story, just to give some background, right? Back in, I guess it was like 2018, 19, and 2020. Um, there's been a lot of talk over the last several years about the sticky stuff, right?
Hmm.
And some have even said that it's more of an advantage than steroids, which I think is a pretty crazy statement.
Some people said it, or
Well, I
Trevor
mean,
Bauer. Trevor Bauer said.
he wasn't. I don't. I don't think he was the person who originally said that quote, but he has repeated it nonetheless.
Mm,
Um, but anyways, so he was calling out Garrett Cole and just the league in general on people using foreign substances, and I mean to the point where he was using it in a single inning just to try and kind of prove a point where he could drastically manipulate his spin rate just like that. And at the time, Garrett Cole was getting all this, hype about how good he was, Cy Young, this and that. And Trevor's like, you're not doing it naturally. So
right.
he called him out on it. He was very vocal and open about his distaste for the way things were going down and the way uh, foreign substances were being used, and so he was like, if you can't beat them, join them, kind of situation. And not
Hmm.
only that, he went from pretty average to you know multiple Cy Young type seasons in a row, like overnight, and it sprungboard him into a massive contract that he signed with the Dodgers, where he was still very open against it, and more so wanting some better regulations. I think that's where it all boiled down for him, is that he wanted to level the playing field. He didn't want it to be the
Hmm.
wild wild west. Pitchers require grip on the ball in order to throw and to throw safely. And so there is a level of need for foreign substance. I mean, they've had rosin for years. The balls are rubbed with mud, before the game. So that part is kind of a known fact. Like pitchers need something in order to have grip on a new baseball. The problem is when some people use different substances that give an increased amount of grip versus others, and there's no real regulation, even though there's always been a rule against it. It's just never been enforced
Hmm.
until recently. And part of that was because of Trevor Bauer's openly outing all these people.
So there are regulations now, right? They're doing checks after every inning, I believe. Would he be the same pitcher? Right? He can. It to me, it seems like he has the potential to jack up the locker room. But maybe you take a chance on that if the talent is there without the foreign substance. Though you said it, he was an above average pitcher. Would he still have the stuff necessary for you to give him a shot?
Yeah, it's hard to say because a lot of the videos he has out there now, he's pitching against friends, JUCO former JUCO players. He pitched against
Mm,
the Dodgers minor league team earlier this spring. He pitched another outing for a Mexican team, and he did decently well. And like his velocity's up from where it was before. He's been
mm,
working. So I mean, for what you got to pay the guy, take away, you know, assuming he would fit the locker room. All right, assuming he fits the locker room situation, he's relatively in it. He would be an inexpensive option, right? He's
okay.
openly said he'd take a vet minimum just to get an opportunity. So it's not like you'd be shelling out millions of dollars. So if it fails, who cares? You got another arm. You saved some of your others. maybe for a little bit of time. So I think the risk reward is pretty, high potential reward for a relatively low risk. And that's with me is thinking, he would be an okay locker room fit. And my basis off of that is just from just watching him interact and talk about, you know, the mechanics and sharing pitching philosophies and training and stuff with players on his teams that he's played with in Japan and in Mexico. And um, one of the guys he faced in the game against the minor league team from the Dodgers were guys that he's trained with. So like he has friends and colleagues in the sport and seems to be open to like working together, training with each other, helping one another out. He's not like just a me guy. He does
Yeah.
seem very very cocky and arrogant, or very sure of himself. But I think from a professional level, like he is a professional guy.
Yeah. So you say he's worth the risk. The other thing is that he got obstacles that even the Braves organization may not be able to get by, right? Because of how vocal he was, and he may have led them to change. It may have been a big factor in them changing the regulations or the rules or how they were going to enforce the um, foreign substances. But he basically spit in their face. They being the league, are they going to let him back in? Right? Bite the hand that feeds you is what they say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what happens behind closed doors, and I don't know if Rob Manfred can really keep him out, right? Like if a GM decided to take a risk on him, what would really be stopping him?
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Closed doors are closed for a reason. So maybe they've already told everybody, like, no, you don't think anyone would have gave this guy a shot, especially since he's been exonerated of all the charges that were against him. Now they're suing, his who was a victim. Now she's gonna be a defendant, right?
Yeah, the most recent one, so the one that got him kind of uh l-
Initially jammed.
initially let go from the Dodgers administrative leave, if you will. Um, she that whole thing has been settled for a little while. This particular person actually came out after the original
Mm,
allegations, and so they were still doing an investigation on, and after that investigation, prosecutors decided to file felony fraud charges against her.
mm, yeah.
Um, Now that just happened like within the past few days. And so I could have seen before now an obstacle being, well, he still has pending allegations against him. If I'm a GM and I bring him in and then those allegations go to court and he's uh, determined as guilty, then there would be repercussions against my team, right? Potential repercussions from the league, retroactive, right? Because you
Yeah.
openly, allowed this person to participate, knowing uh, the severity of the claims against him. But now that all of that's basically out of the, you know, it's a non-issue. I don't really see what's holding anyone back. We'll just have to wait and see if anyone moves because there's plenty of teams that need pitching, not just the Braves. As Justin Verlander put it, there is a pandemic of
Hmm.
pitching injuries throughout the league, and that's one of the things you and I discussed last week. it's not just, you know, lesser known individuals. It's some of your biggest known talents.
Household names,
Uh,
yeah.
Spencer Strider being, the one that hits closest to home. But I don't recall the exact figure, but I believe in the last 13 months there have been 38 pitchers that have required elbow surgery. So in a year, and that number has climbed since I read that article about a week ago. So there is a serious
Yeah.
issue. A lot of teams need pitchers. I could see Trevor, if he's going to get an opportunity to return to the MLB, it's going to be now or, this year.
Yeah, yeah, and that does make sense. The other thing that brought to mind was Marcell Ozuna, right? He had an off season, like on video, right? I think his wife at the time ended up like dropping charges or what have you. And now this man, he had a successful year last year. Um, could have been better, right? But it was good enough for him to stay on the team. And then this year, he has had a crazy start. Like he is smacking dingers left and right. So maybe it wouldn't even be a character thing, right?
Mar-
Bringing Trevor Bauer in,
Marcel seems like a changed man.
a
Uh,
happy-go-lucky fella.
um, his situation I think is a little bit unique because him and his, I don't know if they're still married. If they are, but the his wife or former wife, the one that he had this altercation with, they had a pretty bad history of uh,
Yeah,
just
and
toxic
both sides.
relation. Yeah. And apparently his wife was roughing him up a bit, Tiger Woods style. She didn't beat him with
Get the
the
5 iron.
yeah, she didn't beat him with the golf clubs, but
Yeah,
and
the bat
apparently
might be worse.
apparently when they reviewed the household footage and not just the police body cam footage, it basically exonerated uh, Marcel from the claims that were made that night, and that's
Mhm.
why charges were dropped and he was free to go back to baseball, right? But then he had that other mishap where he had a few too many brewskis and got pulled
Got
over.
behind that wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, got pulled over driving home, and he told the Norcross PD, "I'm Marcelo Zuna from the Braves." Um, but since all that has kind of been in the rear view, I do feel like he's kind of realized the situation that he's in,
Mhm.
kind of how good he has it, and he doesn't want to he don't want to screw that up, and he's out there having fun. The guys in the clubhouse love him.
They love him.
He's the big
Yeah.
bear,
Yeah.
and man, we have needed every bit of the big bear's production this
Mhm.
season so far. Man, he's single handedly kind of carrying us on his shoulders right now.
We've had some solid wins that he contributed heavy in. I won't say solid wins because the pitching struggled. Like Max Freed's last outing was a struggle. He got teed up. But we swept. Who did we just sweep? The
Astros,
Astros. Yeah, and I know their record is pretty terrible right now. They're still the Astros though, right? You got to put some respect on their name. Before that, we swept the Rangers or the Diamondbacks. Did we take
we
we swept the Diamondbacks, but we played the Rangers.
we're
Who we
going we're
play?
playing the Rangers this weekend. We played the Marlins, and we did. I think
They're trash.
we took 2 out of 3. We did lose
2 out of
one,
3 from the Marlins. Yeah.
but we should never lose to the Marlins. We should never lose to the Mets. We lost 2 out of 3 against the Mets. It was supposed to be a 4-game series, but one of the games got postponed
hmm
because of weather. So I don't know if I really count that as a series loss because it was supposed to be a 4-game series, but for all intents and purposes, they lost 2 out of 3 against the Mets, and one of them was that ugly, like, 19-3.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was bad. Um, our pitching has been bad. You said Max Fried has been pretty terrible so far. He had one decent outing.
right.
Chris Sale has been about average.
Okay. Yeah,
Charlie Morton's, 40's not looking good on him. Um, Ronaldo Lopez has been outstanding.
he's been fantastic. I was
He
gonna say that.
he has been our saving grace from a pitching standpoint.
Hmm.
And Darius Vines gave us a pretty good outing, joining coming out of Gwinnett to start the first game on I think it was Monday against the Stros.
Hmm.
And he had a little bit of a shaky start, but man, when he got cooking in like the second or third inning, he was lights out. I think he gave us a solid 5 2/3 innings, which
Yeah.
we're gonna need every bit of our pitchers to go 6 if we can, to save some of our bullpen arms.
Or
Every
to not let them pitch because they've been giving up some runs like crazy. We were up what 6-2 on in a game last week and lost.
Yeah, so the biggest so most of the bullpen has done decent, right? Like the Tyler
Hmm.
Matzicks, the AJ Minters, um, Rysell has been good,
Yeah,
but
he slept the door last night.
AJ freaking Bummer has been a bummer of a pickup because
Hmm.
he came in to close 2 nights ago when we were up. I think it was 6-0 or 6-1, and promptly gave up a home run. So he got the first 2 outs and then gave up a home run, or he gave up a home run, then got the next 2 out. He ended up having like 3 earned runs. I think his ERA is over 20, something like that. Um,
Sheesh.
yeah, it has not been good, and he was one of those pieces we traded for in the offseason. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's not a good look.
They aren't all gonna hit.
No, but I would say AA's batting percentage is still enough to make the Hall of Fame.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah, he's killing it. I think it would make a very much easier case if we hang another pennant up. Not an NL pennant, World Series pennant, but even without it, he's done a fantastic job building this lineup, right? I mean, all the success they had in the regular season last year is a testament to him.
Yeah, and the way this team has been put together, like all these guys are going to be around for a while, right? Like you
Mhm.
still have Ozzy for a while, Austin Riley for a while, um,
Yeah.
Spencer Strider. Fingers crossed that he comes back healthy and is able to have a pretty long extended career.
This is his
But
second major injury, I've heard, right?
so
Did he have Tommy Johns at Clemson?
yeah, he did have Tommy John once already. This was
This wasn't
a
Tommy Johns, right?
it was a brace, is what they called it.
Hmm.
So I guess they go in and they reinforce the tendon, so it wasn't a full tear. It didn't need a full repair. It just needed some some support, I guess, to help it heal properly.
I'm actually dealing with an injury myself. I put in the group, we were supposed to start this jump rope challenge, and I had to go to an orthopedic surgeon consult earlier this week because my knee has just been going crazy. They think I might tear my meniscus, man.
Oh my!
Walking. That's literally why I just turned sideways so I can stretch my leg out. Because when it's bent for too long, it starts to hurt.
You're falling apart, man.
I am falling apart, man. I've been feeling my mortality a lot, dog, and it's a very humbling experience from somebody who I used to call myself Wolverine, right? Like, I would get hurt, but I would bounce back very quickly from a lot of different things. and that ain't happening no more, dog. Like,
Yeah. So I saw, Big James.
mm,
I was able to see him. He lives out in Florida. So while we were down at the beach, I was able to meet up with him, and we were just talking. And one of the things we were talking about, he was saying, you hit 40, which we haven't hit yet. But he's like, every injury you've ever had, you start feeling it.
that's trash, man. I'm not looking forward to that.
So he was like, if I could go back and tell my younger self not to play football, or, you know, my have a conversation with my younger self, and if my younger self said I wanted to play football, I would smack him upside the head, tell him don't do it.
Was that a lot of what's ailing him, like old football injuries?
Yeah, I mean he played college ball at West Georgia for a couple years. He was
Mm,
an offensive lineman, and you know how hard that is on your
yeah.
lower half. So it's like knees and back, and
Well, I gotta figure out something, man. You know,
yeah.
I can't live like this. I want to be the guy that the grizzle. I won't have hair by the time. So I was gonna say like the gray fox, right? But it'll just be my beard. But that's out there with the 4 pack and doing pull ups, man. That was my goal.
You gotta take a little bit of that Bitcoin cheese and go invest in some of that regenerative medicine.
They have. I went to Resurgence Orthopedics, and they're one of the spots that actually do some of that. So what they said was they gave me a de-inflammatory. Um, I actually took it right before we started potting, and they're gonna recommend that I do some physical therapy. I feel like an old broken man, bro.
We'll
And I
put
want to jump rope so bad, man. It because I did get to do that a little bit before this incident, and I could tell like that would really that'll whip you into shape for sure. So
we'll have to put you on the 10-day IL with Ozzy, and
yeah, man.
we'll
Poor Ozzy.
we'll get you back to work in no time. But yeah, Ozzy hit the 10-day with a broken toe. You know what's
Did you see
wild?
the video of it?
I
Like
watched it
it hitting
live.
his foot? Yeah, yeah. That's I can't imagine being hit with something so hard that it just breaks it. And he played through it, right?
So that's the crazy thing, right? Is like he played through it, but you could tell late in that game, when he was, I think he got walked or something, and he was headed to first, and I was like, man, he's limping.
He's laboring a little bit.
Yes, he's limping. We're gonna hear something tomorrow, and sure enough,
Mhm.
they X-rayed it and it said it was fractured.
Yeah.
But these guys are throwing, 95 plus. I was talking about the velo being up for Trevor Bauer. Man, he touched 99 on multiple pitches in that game against the Dodgers, that backlot game or whatever they called it.
Mm.
So, when you get hit by a 99-mile-an-hour ball, they're hard, right? Like,
I got shoes on, man. I thought that would protect me a little bit.
I would think the smaller the bones, the more
More
brittle.
difficult, yeah. Oh well, yeah. No, I was going the other way.
Yeah, no, like the more mass you have, the more you have to fight against that, right? Like you get hit in your fingers or your toes, man, they're goners. I'm pretty sure I broke my toe doing a backflip in college. And man, that thing still hurts me to this day, but uh, there's nothing they can
mm.
do about it, right? Like you can't brace, like it's just
They
you
could
have
can't they like re-break it and set it?
just for you
You want to
to
go through that, right?
re-break it and set it every time you take a step.
You know, you're not gonna make that pro career happen if you don't make sacrifices.
So with Ozzy, they basically said it's just like they put him on the 10-day to give him rest. Uh,
Right.
but they said it's basically he can play. It's up to his own pain tolerance.
Right. It just kind of is what it is. There's nothing that they can do further. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
gotta let the body heal itself.
the day after I pretty sure I broke my toe, I was out on the flag football field playing, and it hurt,
Yeah.
but like honestly, it hurt for weeks, but it was just one of those things like couldn't do anything about it, just let it heal.
Yeah. And no one wants to get bit by the injury bug, but I'd rather have it happen now than towards the end of the season like it did last year.
Well, it was pretty scary in that same game. I don't know if you saw this clip, but Ronald Acuna Jr. goes
Yeah.
sliding for a catch and comes up lame, holding his knee. And I'm like, oh gosh, we can't lose Ronnie. Not to another
Yeah.
knee. Thankfully, it was just a stinger from the ball hitting him in the knee.
Like, how did he miss that? I mean, it would have been a great catch, right? But his glove was just poorly positioned. How do
I,
you
g-
let the ball hit you?
I don't know, but it hit him square in the knee.
Yeah.
And yeah, everyone in the dugout, they panned the camera over to it, was checking on him during the
Oh no. Are you all right?
so it was like after the inning was over, he was sitting on the bench and the trainer was over there and everybody was coming up to check on him. Everyone.
Yeah, man.
I saw our
That's
season.
bigger than Spencer Strider, and Spencer Strider's a huge hit, right?
Yeah. I saw our season flash before my eyes.
Like,
But
yeah. No, I'm glad that he's healthy. He hit his first home run yesterday, right? So,
he's got that weight off his chest. You could tell he was
hmm
happy for it. He was so close. You know,
yeah,
it's kind of anecdote and it's all personal perception of people hypothesizing of kind of what's been going on with him because he's had a relatively slow start to the year. But you know, one thing we have to remember is he sat out of spring training quite a bit with that
yeah,
knee inflammation. So
hmm
he didn't see as much pitching. So his timing is still he's still working on that timing, getting into the flow.
yeah.
He's still been absolute monster on the base path, stealing, two bags at a time. It feels like.
He's been getting on a lot too, right? It
Yeah.
just hasn't been putting him out the park.
Yeah, but people, they go back to that year after he tore his ACL, and we're like, his power is just not there. But
Mm,
he also wasn't stealing bases left and right either. Like he was laboring on
right.
his knee. To me, as long as he's running, like if he's running on the bases, I feel good about Ronnie and his overall health. The
Yeah.
rest of it's like mechanics and timing, and you know,
He's just getting warmed up.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I think we're we could be in better shape, but we're not in bad shape. We're still leading the division, still near the top in the NL. So
Yeah, I just
top
need
it.
these Mets fans to shut their traps about winning 2 games. Like they won the
Yeah,
World Series, man.
that is their World Series.
Poverty stricken. This is a poverty franchise if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, yeah, gutter dwellers.
Yeah. Which we have one of those locally as well.
Oh God, yeah, we do.
Actually, maybe 2.
You, you know what's you? No, we have one. I will not let you down my cousin and them. Right? We do have the one. They are not flying high. They were eliminated in the play-in last night. You know what makes it even worse is how good the Knicks are, and they're not even fully healthy. But the Knicks are really good, and that was one of our shining moments in most recent years of when the Hawks went into Madison Square Garden. Trey took a bow, and we pushed them back into purgatory where they belong. And now they're really good, and we are trash. Right? So we had the play in last night. We lose to the Bulls. Kobe White, who I actually liked at UNC. Right, he was. I don't think they won the championship that year, but they went pretty far. Uh, had a slower start to his career, but then last night he just gets off, dropping 40. Um, a lot of that was not on Trey Young, who's obviously he's going to catch the smoke for the bad defense, but a lot of that was on Dejounte. A lot of it was on Bogey. Right, they were just getting cooked, and it was not. I think the experiment has to end. I don't know which player they're going to get rid of, but I read an article yesterday, or I don't know. I read an article recently on Yahoo that was saying that it's likely that Trey Young is done, not DeJounte, as a Hawk, because they already tried to trade DeJounte, and they're not going to get near. Obviously, they're not going to get what we're not going to recoup what we lost. Right, 3 first rounders. We're not getting that back. But they were looking to trade him. The article says they were looking to trade him before the trade deadline this year, and there were just no bites. So they're thinking that if they are going to get value for one of these players, they're going to have to get it by trading Trey Young.
Did you listen to the morning shift this morning?
No, I didn't catch him this morning.
So they were talking about, I don't know if it was this same article, but there was a CBS article by someone who said very similar things, right? That
Mm,
what are the Hawks going to do, because they don't really have any value anywhere except for Trey, right? Um, and
yeah,
so basically, his point leads to the exact same thing, right? Is you can't you you tried to get rid of DJ. You were getting very minimal offers for him, not what you value him at, obviously.
right.
You gave up a king's ransom for him.
You did.
There's a lot of people that believe that during the DeJounte led Hawks period this year, that the overall defense played better. I don't know. We've talked about this before. The record really doesn't say that we were any better with DeJounte over Trey, so I don't really buy those feelings. But there is a lot, you know, to really ask and think about when it comes to where do we go from here, because I think you're gonna lose, right? Like either way you decide to go, you're gonna have to swallow the fact that you're gonna take a loss.
Yeah.
There was a caller, I think, this evening on the Dukes and Bell show, or the show after, that was saying, and I really like this caller's point. He's like, you traded Dominique Wilkins, your bona fide superstar,
Hmm.
and it was 20 years before this franchise had another superstar. And he was basically saying that to say you would be complete fools to let go of Trey.
Yeah, that's a solid point.
I agree with him. The point that the radio host was trying to make was that it hasn't worked with Trey, that he's got holes in his game. He's a liability on defense. He misses threes sometimes. But I'm like, if you really view Trey as a superstar, you do not let him go. You have not
Yeah,
built a team around his um his you know
skill set
skills and traits, his best traits, if you will. Like,
and his worst ones. You got to build for both.
yeah. So I lean on, we probably won't see DeJounte next year, and I'm okay with that.
So the other thing that this article said is that uh, Quinn doesn't want to lose Dejounte. He wants to keep DJ in the fold. I don't know. He should be catching more smoke than I think he does. Right? I
Quinn,
mean, oh yeah, 100%. He's still the head coach. His rotations aren't very good. Um, You got to be able to slow the game. I mean, the game was on pretty late last night, but I started watching right before halftime, so I didn't see them getting blown out by 18. Right when I started watching, it went from call it 10-3, then back up to 6, then the half ended, and the third quarter started, and that was it. Chicago took off, and I dozed, but all in that. How do you let that happen, man? You're not on the court, you can't play, but you definitely can control the flow. It
They
doesn't
were
seem like he's done that at all this season.
they were down 18 at the half.
No,
Yeah.
it was 6. Check it.
And then the
They were
Hawks went
down
on a
18 after the first quarter.
they went on like a 12 something run in the third quarter, I thought.
Mm-mm.
Let's see. Uh
Let's look at that box score.
well, the first half they were down, or the first quarter they were down 18. The score
Mm-mm.
was 67 to 73 uh
6 at halftime.
at halftime. Yeah. 73 to
67.
67. Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
The third
It's nice
quarter.
to win one because the Hawks didn't.
Mm, yeah, like you said, it was late. I was tired.
Yeah, nah, I was definitely dozing, man. But you know, I I don't. I won't even say that I had expectations for them in that game. Right. I've been kind of checked out um, for a while. Once Trey went down, I was like, all right, well, this is it. I'm good. I still watch a game or two, but to have aspirations of them making, some Cinderella push throughout the playoffs and some deep run, I had no illusions of that. So it wasn't a huge surprise to wake up and then to see them interviewing Kobe White, right?
Man, his hair
Oh
was a
God, they did it
distraction.
again. It's big.
That's
He
all
should
I
get a
could see
deal,
on the
man.
floor.
He'll probably get one now. He dropped 42 in the play-in. He actually had a really good season overall. I think he averaged like 26 and 7 or something like that. But I could see him as the new Head
Troy.
and Shoulders guy. Yeah,
Yeah, Troy.
Troy Polamalu.
Yeah. That's funny because that's exactly what I thought when you said he needs a deal. Like
Yeah,
Troy
yeah.
Polamalu, Head and Shoulders.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah. I had no expectations for the Hawks. Honestly, I'm kind of glad they ended it.
It's over. Yeah,
Yeah,
in my
just
misery.
yeah. It's time to start moving on. And when honestly, I lost faith when uh Jalen Johnson went down for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
And Trey was just barely like, what do you play, two games before the play-in? Like,
Yeah.
man, he was looking
He came
rough.
out there with that beard. Yeah. We noticed the same things. I was like, man, that guy Trey was looking rough, bro.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time at home with them two kids, man. Caught a little dose of reality. Like, oh, I gotta get healthy. Gotta get back out there, man.
Yeah, it looks
Not built
like
for this.
aged like 4 years.
Yeah. It was like a month and a half, right?
Yeah.
There was another take that said that they may trade them both and build around Jalen. Right, you would go into next year thinking that, knowing that you were going to be trash, but you would be able to draft if you get the capital back in. You'll be able to draft a team and build around him. I'm not a fan of that. I like Jalen Johnson. I think he's a great player, and I hope he's still ascending.
Yeah,
But
but I mean,
he's
let's
not the cornerstone. He can be a cornerstone. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think I've seen enough to label him that.
yeah, I mean, I like Jalen Johnson too. I would love to see Jalen and Trey, or Jalen and DeJounte continue. I lean to Jalen and Trey. Um, but either one I would be okay with. But on like you've said, I'm surprised you haven't had your weekly
My
Hawks.
Purdue shirt.
No, no,
Oh, oh,
no,
okay.
your weekly Hawks AJ Griffin plug.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but I would like to start seeing some of our D League guys, come up and get some run.
Gotta talk
Just
to the coach,
just
man.
see what they
What's
can
he
do.
doing?
I mean, I think in very limited action, Kobe Buffkin has looked like he could be a solid player, right? So if
Yeah,
you did go without Trey and DJ, right, it's probably Kobe Buffkin time with
it's got to be the
Jalen.
youth movement, man. You got to see
Yeah.
exactly what these guys got, and they got to get a decent shot. That includes Adrian Griffin, right? Kobe Buffkin, Adrian Griffin, even Crete Vigi or Vit Creegee.
He's done well.
He played, yeah. The minutes that he had, he used them well.
Yeah. There's another guy. Dude, can't remember his name.
Garrison Matthews.
No.
Everyone else on the team is old. Wesley Matthews and the
Uh,
Australian blur. What's my man's name? Former Spur. I don't know. He got way too much playing time. If you ask me.
I'll tell you in just a second who I'm. Seth Lundy is who I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was drafted what, this year or last year? He's fairly young.
In 2023. Yeah, this
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, we could put a squad together. I think the last place I looked said that we had, they obviously have the lottery, so nothing's set, but it's looking like pick 10.
Mm. Right in time for my man Zach Eady.
Well, that's where I was going is I think that puts us in ED range, and I Capella's got to go. I'm sorry. Clint's
So I think
just
his last year of his contract is next year, so he would be off the books either way, which is, would be great. Like, I think he's a solid player. Definitely somebody who could offer some tutelage to a rookie like Zach Eady. So yeah, but I don't want to re-sign him, right? Let him go win a ring with somebody. Send him over there to Steph. Get Steph some help out there because the Warriors got balanced. I feel like they looked almost as bad as we did, right?
I think they look worse.
Yeah.
There were spurts last night where we look good. It's just I don't know. I feel like every time I watch the Hawks, it's frustrating because we're playing from behind. We're trying to catch up. We get a stop, and then we throw up some ridiculous shot that we shouldn't,
Heat check.
and we brick it, and then the next thing we know, we're back down by 6. Because there was actually a series last night where we hit a three, brought it down to 3, got the ball back, bricked a shot. The Chicago got it, and what's your what's the foreigner uh, big
Vucevic.
Vucevic? Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Hits a 3, and we're back down by 6,
Hmm.
like that. Like
Yeah. I don't know, man. I am glad. I'm not glad they lost, but there's an aspect of relief, right? But they weren't, and the Bulls aren't either. The Bulls aren't gonna be able to hold their own against any of the teams that are remaining. They may not be able to beat the Heat and actually get into the playoffs. They may, because I know Jimmy Butler. They say Jimmy Butler may be down or may not be able to play in that game. But one series, right? That's not what I'm after.
yeah, someone
I
gave
didn't
Jimmy
have
Butler.
championship. They gave him what?
They gave him your knee.
No, he had it already. He's just got more money. They draw out your plasma and inject it into your knee. I'm tapping my knee. It looks weird. Not at the table, Carlos. Oh yeah, nah, Jimmy. I mean, he's their motor. He's their heart and soul. So without him, they're not going nowhere.
And they call him Playoff Jimmy for a reason.
They can beat the Bulls though. So and maybe we beat them if we had them in a one game series. But for what? Just to have a worse pick. Like when we talking about that when we were at that last game we were playing the Saints.
Yep.
It's like, nah, well go ahead and bite the dust. We don't need to see you anymore.
Ah, I try to think about. I mean, we've talked about it before, like who we'd want to build a team around if we could trade, and we threw out some names. What's his name? Ant
Anthony
Man.
Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them that we didn't mention that I wish we had traded for a while ago is SGA.
Oh, that's Dion's. That's basically his favorite player, right? That's
Yeah.
all he talks about. Yeah. SGA man, he's the future man. He's the best player. Blah 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 blah. Blah.
I mean, I think the OKC Thunder, they're a legit contender. Uh,
It
S
reminds me a lot of that team, that youth movement they had the last time though, which they blew. With you had Russell Westbrook, James Harden,
and KD.
Kevin Durant, um, Andre Robinson. He was a really good defender, and Kendrick Perkins. They had a squad, man.
I mean, they went to the finals.
Yeah, they didn't win it.
They ran into LeBron and Shaq and
Shaq.
Verjao. Yeah, it wasn't Shaq on that squad.
No, that team lost to
Oh yeah,
the
that's right.
Spurs. That was the Heat. It was LeBron, but it was the Heat. They lost to the Heat.
Yeah, wasn't Shaq on that squad?
No, he was on the Heat with Dwayne Wade when he caught his first one, but LeBron wasn't down there yet.
I thought he at least played a year with LeBron. Um,
In Cleveland, he did, and he played in Boston. People don't remember those bad Shaq years.
yeah. Um,
He left the Lakers. He went to Miami. He caught a chip there, and then from there, I think he went to. Oh no, he went to Phoenix after that. Played with Steve Nash for a little bit. He was actually still pretty dominant at that point, but then it was all fall off from there, right to the Cavs, and then I think he might have retired from Boston.
he played
But
with
that
the.
Heat,
When did LeBron go to Miami? Because he played with
that
the
had to
Heat
be
04 through '08.
Shaq did.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the decision was that college.
yeah. That was like '08, '07.
Whatever it takes. LeBron James, basketball reference. He played for the Heat. Um, 2010
Uh,
through 2014.
so then
You
then
say Shaq was he left when in 2010?
'08, I think. Hold on, let me pull it back up. So then he never played with LeBron. Yeah.
I think he played with him in Cleveland now.
He put Shaq was in Cleveland from '09 to 2010. Oh, so yeah, he played with him in Cleveland before LeBron went to Miami.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
I'm pretty
Cleveland,
what
yeah, Phoenix, Cleveland, Boston. Hey, yeah, that's crazy.
was that not the what year did Cleveland go to the finals with Booby Miller or whatever his name was and
Booby Gibson,
Booby Gibson and Verjao and
there's Zhao and Delonte West.
yeah.
Poor Delonte West, man. Prayers for that guy. Hope he ends up on his feet. Um, I was pretty early on. But they lost. They got their head bust by the Spurs. I think they swept them.
That was when I was actually a fan of LeBron.
When did it change? When he went to Miami?
Oh, a little bit when he went to Miami, but more so since he's gone to LA.
Mm.
I was pretty happy when he went back to Cleveland, and then he left.
Yeah, he got him a ring. He did what he was supposed to do. I ain't mad at it. Shoot, LeBron want to come here, him and Bronny and Trey Young, give it a run, man. I suffered through a year of that.
I mean, it would be entertaining if nothing else.
Hmm.
Man, I saw a clip of LeBron earlier. I don't know. This fool was roasting him, but he like gets tapped, like just very lightly swiped on the back of his head, and man, he does the
Like paint.
best Hollywood acting job.
Yeah.
Some of the comments were like, "Michael didn't do this much acting in Space Jam."
Okay, so I was having this discussion last night. You've seen both Space Jams, yes?
Yeah,
Who's the better actor, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
LeBron.
LeBron, and it's not close. It's not to say that LeBron put on an Oscar-winning performance. He did not. He's not a good actor.
He's been in a few
He's way
movies.
more charismatic than Michael Jordan
Yeah,
in the movie. Yeah. Okay. I just had to sanity check myself. I was like, no, what are you talking about?
was LeBron's Space Jam better than Michael's Space Jam? Absolutely not, in my mind.
I think it's pretty close. The
Not even.
adaptation to today's world, right? Like the technology and going into the metaverse or whatever they call it, the serververse. Algae Rhythm was really good. Obviously, the Looney Tunes were the Looney Tunes. They were great. I thought it was pretty close.
Mm, nah.
It's because they have female basketball players, huh?
What
No, what is it? Softball? Who are you trying to get rid of with college football? Take the money from
the
take the money from the volleyball team,
the lacrosse, women's
the
lacrosse,
women's lacrosse.
the field hockey squad?
Yeah, man. Nah, I do think that second Space Jam was really good. Now I did happen to watch that in theaters, and your boy might have had taken a gummy, right? So, but I've seen it since then several times, and I stand on it. I stand on that business.
It's
That
yeah.
the new legacy was solid.
I fell asleep the first time trying to watch it. It
Mm.
took me like 3 tries to get all the way through it.
What I think isn't close is the soundtrack for the first one was crazy. Like,
I think it's hard because even if even if you don't know how they're going to do it, you know the outcome.
yeah.
So, it's kind of like I already know the story even if I don't know the story. So, it just kind of
Mm.
takes it diminishes, I think, from the movie as a whole cuz it's nothing new, right? It's just rehashed. It's like the Boondock Saints 2. I don't know
Mm.
if you saw. Boondock Saints is a great movie. But when they
Love
made a
it.
second one, it was like the first one just remade, and it never has the same effect as the first time.
I think you can though. And I know we're way off of AT alien territory right now, but what about the Saws? Now they definitely ran their course, but Saw 2 and 3, I thought were pretty good.
Yeah, but they
The
were
same movie, right? It's just a different twist.
but the whole premise of the Saws were the game, right? And the game was always changing and
Let's play a game.
there was always a twist and unexpected. Like I think a good example is Top Gun Maverick, right? Like
Mm.
it was fantastic
It
because
was a great movie.
it wasn't the same story rehashed. right? Like it was a continuation. Were there elements that they purposely threw in for that nostalgia? Absolutely. Like I forget, were they playing football on the beach or something, and they were kind of
yeah.
bringing back the beach volleyball vibes, and the opening scene.
Looking real sus out there.
The opening scene is
Yeah.
like you could play the opening scene from both movies, and they're the exact same,
hmm
right? Like
I
there
mean,
are,
the story is not too different, though. I don't. I'll disagree with you there. Right? There was a mission that only Mav could do, and he had to risk someone that he loved in doing it. Um,
yeah. So the overarching theme, I'll give you that.
was the same.
There
Yeah.
were there were some parallels, but it wasn't Top Gun, right? Like,
I thought it was better. The first one, I mean, I didn't get. I got the appeal. I guess it had some great songs and it's Tom Cruise, but that second one, I thought it was really good.
oh, I thought they were both
Even the dog fights were really good, or the mission when they're flying in, banking on those turns. Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
This is way off topic, but I'll bring it up just because I brought up Big James earlier. I think
Hmm.
this memory will always stick with me. It was back in college. Um, that Pale Grant money had come in. We were we were living
Tell me about it.
we were living together, and with a couple other people, and he decided, he wanted to go brand smart, get a big TV. So somewhere in the I don't know, somewhere it was lost in translation
Mm.
about the pay for this big TV, but he went out. He got this like 81-inch TV screen, like back in like 2008.
Thousands of dollars.
Man, we watched Top Gun on that thing immediately, and like all the classic movies. But then, like, I think it was 24 hours or 48 hours later, he decided to return it because he realized he needed the money.
I did that with a gun one. I took a hit too. I think I bought it for like 350, and I essentially sold it back to him because I went to a gun show. Essentially sold it back for like 300 because I needed tires. I had blew out a tire that night. I was like, well, I ain't got no money, man. I gotta get rid of this gun. Gotta be able to get around, man.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, that was the measuring stick though of how good a TV was. Is how well does it play Top Gun?
There you go. I remember last anecdote. We watched Super Bowl at Deshaun's house, and Bruno Mars did the halftime show. So I don't know what year that was, but Deshaun had bought a TV, and this was my first time seeing a TV this good. Right? I was like, "Whoa!" I could see the sweat dripping down Bruno Mars's face. And I don't know what the elevation was, whether that was like 720 to 1080p or, nah, it had to be something close to that. Maybe it was like 480 to 1080p from what I had been dealing with. But that was the best. That was the highest elevation from my TV to the next series of technology that I had ever experienced. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was a big
Yeah,
jump. It was a huge jump
it was a big jump.
from 480 to
1080.
or 720 to 1080.
Yeah. Don't forget the P.
Well, yeah, 1080i is still pretty good though.
Mm. What do you have now?
I still have
What's your
1080
best
4K.
TV? 1080. I
Uh,
got. You don't have a 4K?
I don't think I do.
Wow. Living in the teens, huh? The 20 teens.
You can't even broadcast 4K, so you're basically buying a marketing ploy.
You can stream it and you can game it.
You cannot stream 4K in full 4K. They may call it 4K, but it's not 4K.
There's a difference in the quality of the 4K videos on Netflix and the ones that are not 4K.
I will agree with you because at one point in time my Netflix got turned into a premium account or whatever, and Sarah and I looked
Hmm.
at each other and was like, "Why does this look so different?"
There you go.
Because we were watching the UHD. But no, my our TV I've had since 2011.
Mm.
Got it before we got married, and it still is impeccable. Uh, it was at the time pretty high end TV. It's LG, it's 3D TV, but it's
Oh, you got the 3D joint?
yeah, it's 480 hertz
Mm.
frame rate, so that makes all the difference. The frame
Yeah.
rate. We never
Refresh.
use yeah, we never used the 3D function, and frankly, I didn't buy it because it had 3D. I bought it because I walked through the store and said that TV looks the best.
Yeah.
Um,
When it's next to all the other TVs, that's the easiest comparison, right? I love
yeah,
Best Buy
and
or Target now.
it's only a 55 inch, so like I mean it's relatively modest in today's standards. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'll keep rocking that thing till it dies. I mean, paid a decent amount for it then. I mean, TVs were not what they are today in terms of price. I want
Yeah.
to say it was like a $1,600 TV back then. So
I bought a 32-inch Sony Bravia back in the day from Walmart. That might have been like '09, and that thing is still doing its thing. Not here, but it's at my mom's house.
yeah.
Yeah. But man, we stopped talking sports so long ago. I think we should close it out, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm good. Before we do, did you want to talk a little about Robert Kraft?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was an interesting story, right? So the Falcons were on a coaching hunt. We both know that. That's well documented. We didn't know who they were going to go with. There was a period of time where Bill Belichick was said to be the front runner in the race, and I was actually looking forward to that. It's stated that I was not in the majority in regards to my desires to bring in Bill Belichick, as many call him. But I thought that would be an interesting play for the Falcons. Um, Come to find out, the relationship between he and Robert Kraft, I think that was documented that it had deteriorated. But after they parted ways, Robert Kraft in the public was saying glowing things about old Bill. Right, he's a great guy, great coach, excellent man. And then it comes out that he called Arthur Blank and was like, "Hey, man, that dude is a scumbag. Don't trust him. He cannot. Do not bring him into your organization." More or less. And then there were two people who backed that story, one on Robert Kraft's side and one on Bill Belichick's side, essentially saying that I won't say he blackballed him, but he didn't get any opportunities with anybody else. And for him to have gone as far as they did with the Falcons hiring process, feels like he got him blackballed.
Yeah. I listened to some guys talk about it a little bit on the radio. Not necessarily about this particular story, about Bill in general, and like it does kind of raise your eyebrows when you think about the fact that none of the coaches that have coached under Bill have gone on to be successful head coaches. He's hired a lot of them back. He made some pretty weird coaching decisions recently, hiring guys that who had never coached offense
Mm.
to bring in as offensive guys with a second year quarterback. Just a lot of questionable decisions and things that make you wonder about you know, where his state of mind is. you know, was he the beneficiary of Tom Brady, or as he's gotten older, as he just lost touch with the game, right? Because the game evolves. The players get younger, you get older. Um,
Hmm.
so
So happened to Saban, right?
yeah, I think Saban still was able to resonate with the players, build relationships, just because Saban's personality. He's not as brash, I think, as Bill Belichick. Um, but yeah, it's just some points that just made me kind of think about, like, would we have really wanted Bill anyways? Just because he's kind of old school, and you look at the way of coaching has gone throughout the league. It's these young guys that can
Hmm.
relate to players in a way that Bill just wasn't going to be able to.
Yeah.
And it was said that he was basically going to bring his same guys with him as coordinators. And I think you look at that situation and you really evaluate it. It's like, that's not really the direction we want to go as a franchise.
Yeah.
We need to be looking more in the future, and setting
Some
ourselves.
longevity,
Yeah,
which
set
he wasn't going to give us. That was one of your points when we discussed it way back when. Was you know we don't want to coach for the next 2 years. We want somebody that's going to be around for a while.
And honestly, in those 2 years, he could have set us back another, 5.
Mm.
There was an article that came out today, and I haven't had an opportunity to read the whole thing, but basically said that Bill didn't really view the Falcons as a true contender.
Were we?
Are we now?
We didn't have Kirk Cousins when Bill Belichick was interviewing. I do think we are closer to being a contender now than we were then, for sure.
Yeah, but the cap was going to be there. It was going to be Bill's and his, you know, staff, and Terry
Yeah, he
Fontenot's.
he made poor personnel decisions as well, and I know he was in control of a lot up there in New England. Right? It wasn't just coaching. He basically coached GM.
Yeah, but I guess my point is on paper we may not have been a quote unquote contender, but we were sure enough in position to be one.
Yeah.
If all it took was solidifying a quarterback, situation, and a couple other, general off-season maintenance and the draft, like, we were a contender. I mean, we were a QB away from the playoffs last year,
That's a fair point.
and he was going to be in control over that position. Whoever came in was going to be in control of the direction of that position moving forward. So, I mean, I think we did ourselves a huge favor in not hiring Bill. Um, I really like Raheem Morris. I'm glad
Yeah.
that he's our coach. I'm very interested to see what we do next week in the draft. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
My only thing with Raheem is, it's a retread of sorts, but I'm a supporter. I'm with him. He sounds great, like the things that he's saying. So I'm up.
there's a over or under for next week. Just throw it out there and end on that. Um, 1.5 trades. Falcons draft, over or under.
Under.
You going with the under? So you think, how many trades you think we'll make during the draft?
One or none.
One or none?
If we can trade back in the first round, I think maybe we do that. I don't think we do anything else.
I don't know, man. It's been kind of our MO to be draft day traders, even if it's small little moves here and there. I'm going to take the
Yeah.
over. I think the safe bet is one, but I'm
Right.
going to go with the over. I'm going to say we make at least two moves.
Because even that one isn't even guaranteed. I don't think that's very likely. Even
Oh, I think the one's guaranteed.
trading back.
I didn't say trading back. And I'm not talking about
Okay, yeah.
just the first round either. I'm talking about the whole
Right,
draft.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
The entire
We
draft,
we
yeah.
we will make at least one draft day trade.
Yeah.
Guarantee that. It's the second one that I'm kind of on the fence about, but I'm gonna go with the over. We'll have to check back next. We gotta put something on it.
We'll be
Make a little wager.
so we'll actually be meeting before the draft next week.
Yeah,
I might give us some content because I told you I got tickets to the draft, so I'm gonna go down there.
yeah. We gotta talk
What you
about
want to
that.
wager?
We gotta talk about the draft day stuff offline because I want to ask you some questions. But
Okay.
yeah, what we gonna wager? Uh, if you lose, you gotta join me with the Strider stash.
If you lose, you got to cut it off. This is babyface Jones out here.
All right, I'll meet you there.
All right.
You don't have to keep the Strider stash for more than a few weeks or
A
a week.
few weeks. Damn.
A week, 1 week.
All right. Deal.
All right. Well,
All right, man. It's been a pleasure, man. Like, subscribe, comment. We need some enthusiasm out of you guys. So come on, join us. Talk about it.
yeah, I set that benchmark at 50 subscribers, and so far we have not increased a one. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Make 5 accounts and subscribe on all five. I'm just
However you want to get down, man. I'm with it.
yeah, no, but for real, please like, subscribe, share us on the socials. If you like what you're listening to, uh, we appreciate the support. And with that, we'll call it a night.
Peace.
Peace.